Today's speaker in the LBS Innovation Series is Dr. Stephan, Deputy Director of the Institute of Technology and Innovation Management at Hamburg University of Technology. Stephan's presentation is titled Academic Industry Collaboration and Engagement, How Universities Can Strengthen Firms' Innovative Ability. Stephan argues that to succeed in emerging markets, especially in powerhouses like China and India, many companies from industrialised countries have had to change their established business models. He argues that in this environment, in order to remain competitive, a new way of thinking and action is required, and he calls this frugal innovation. Frugal innovation is a strategic approach to deal with these new challenges. According to Buse, frugal innovation refers to products and services that seek to minimise the use of material and financial resources across the complete value chain. The objective is to sustainably reduce not just price, but the complete costs of ownership and usage of a product. By adopting this approach, firms can develop products that bring better price quality goods to customers, both in the business to consumer and the business to business sectors. He also gives examples of strong university industry collaboration through the use of netography, an emerging tool used to better identify habits of consumers. Please enjoy Stephan's presentation on frugal innovation.
Thank you very much, Alex. Sorry, I'm still suffering from a cold, and the jet lag doesn't help very much to get better. But thank you very much, Alex, to the kind introduction, and thank you very much to all of you bringing me to Melbourne and giving me the opportunity to speak here about the topic Alex mentioned. So it's always a pleasure being here. It's my first time at La Trobe, but hopefully and definitely not the last time. And it's always a big pleasure for me and my family, this time I'm here on my own, to be back in Melbourne. As Alex mentioned, it has become, over the last 10 years, we have been here plenty of times, and it has become our second home. So that's great. Before I go into the topic, just a brief introduction of myself. Alex mentioned I'm at the Institute for Technology and Innovation Management. We are part of the business school at Hamburg University of Technology, and we're a team of roughly 24 people being engaged in, of course, research and teaching, but not only. So we're also engaged, and this is mainly my part, not only my part, but I'm responsible for this, in industry collaborations. And this is, I guess, why I was invited as a keynote on this topic here. What you see here are our research areas, so all related to innovation management. So, and today the topic I will talk about aspects of open innovation and user innovation. So what you see here, I don't want to go too much into detail in all the topics, but what they have in common, most of them, is the user-centered approach. And yesterday, after the 3 brilliant speeches, I thought, oh, how can you get a transition, right? Especially when Craig at the end spoke about Industry 4.0. But then in the end, and when we had the discussion, I thought, okay, it's still about customers, right? We can have brilliant, perfect digital concepts, but at the end of the day, the customers have to appreciate. They have to use Uber, Airbnb, and all the platform technologies, right? If we don't meet the needs and preferences of the customers, it doesn't matter. We can't be successful. So, when I started thinking and preparing the presentation for this, I thought, what might they be interested in? I guess most of them know why universities and companies should collaborate. What are the motives? What are the different forms? So this might be boring. No, you don't want to talk about that. Anyway, I'm not an expert on that much. So this is why I thought, and because as I got to know here a lot of practitioners, I thought maybe why not to combine talking about, yes, also some critical success factors in collaboration between the two parties, but also to talk about innovation management because the topic is how such collaboration can strengthen the innovative ability of companies, right? So why not combine it and introducing to you some innovation management related topics and selected methods about it. And this is what I'm going to do. For this, I called some friends here in Australia and asked them, so from industry, I asked them, do you think that innovation management topics are of interest for them? And they said, of course, definitely. So what about topics? I mentioned some, and they said, okay, open innovation, yeah. Not many have dealt with open innovation and selected concepts. I don't know how many of you have dealt with open innovation, are familiar with open innovation. And now I address the practitioners and not the colleagues from entrepreneurship and innovation. So are you familiar with the open innovation concept? No? Not that much? Okay, that's good for me. So what I'm going to do is the agenda. Briefly talk about some challenges to firms' innovation management, and then open innovation as a method, as a tool, as a solution to deal with such challenges. And for this, I've selected 2 methods of open innovation, which might help and hopefully help to strengthen firms' innovative ability. I'm going to talk about 2 projects we have done with companies, explaining the methods and the results we came up with. And finally, some implications for practice regarding what are the critical success factors in such collaborations, and especially in applying such methods. So what are the challenges to firms' innovation management? All of you know this, right? So we talked about digitalization yesterday, how digitalization might disrupt existing business models, right? So what we see is over the last decades, a shortening of product life cycles. As a consequence, we have a shortening of innovation cycles. We have new competitors. Craig yesterday mentioned there are 3 billion potential entrepreneurs coming from emerging markets. I doubt that there are 3 billion, but even 3 or 30 million would be sufficient to put pressure on our business models, right? So yes, but it's a fact, and later on in the masterclass, I will go into that a bit deeper, right? There are new customer needs, changing customer needs in established markets as well as in new markets. So many challenges for companies they have to deal with. And to do this, they have to be innovative. Like the motto of this conference, innovate or perish, right? So, what I said, to be successful, to be innovative, companies have to establish a systematic innovation management approach. I'm not an expert on Australian companies, but in Germany, for instance, or in Europe, not many companies, except the real large, big multinational ones, have a systematic professional innovation management in place, right? So many companies, especially small and medium-sized companies, they don't even have an innovation strategy, nor they have thought about how to structure the innovation management. There's no innovation process in place. And they're not familiar with different concepts, methods, how to be innovative, how to take advantage of open innovation and other features. Nor what we have, or what we see here, they have an innovative corporate culture which fosters and pushes and enables innovations. So you see, it's a complex area, and of course I can't cover all. This is why I try to focus on these 2 aspects: innovation structure with an open innovation approach and some selected methods in the field of open innovation. So, who knows what open innovation means? What's the idea behind the concept?
Collaboration.
Collaboration, yes. Collaboration with who?
Between the companies, between firms.
Okay, yeah, one aspect. You're right. Right? Before we go into this, and I want to just focus on this, right? So over the last 50, 60 years, in innovation management, we have seen different innovation models within companies, from technology push to market pull, combined models, or the integrated model. But nowadays, we are in the 5th generation. So in this is about innovation networks, and also global innovation networks we're going to talk about later on in the masterclass. But the 5th generation, the network model. And Antonio nicely explained it yesterday. So he is really following the open innovation approach because together with his colleagues, he has set up an innovation network. He talked about when he designed and tested and redesigned his business model. So he teamed up with customers, with suppliers, distributors, with incubators, with financial investors. So this is an innovation network. All of them, so he opened up his innovation process, his company, to be successful, right? And this is what we call the open innovation approach. So it's not that old, this approach. So it was defined by Henry Chesbrough in 2006. Most of the academics here are well familiar with it. So what does it mean? It's the opposite of the formerly known closed innovation approach, where companies were solely focusing on themselves, where they tried to develop ideas on their own and to test the ideas, to develop and to produce them and to introduce them to the market, to produce and then introduce them to the market. So because why did they do it? And still there are many companies who are doing it like this, following the closed innovation approach. One reason is, and the main reason is, they want to protect their ideas, right? But nowadays what we said, these innovation network model, the 5th generation of innovation models, it's about openness. It's about, and we have two aspects, the inbound effect and the outbound effect. And I want to focus on the inbound effect. It means you're opening up your innovation process from idea generation to market introduction. You are integrating external stakeholders. You mentioned competitors. But not only competitors. Companies are collaborating, trying to get ideas, to test ideas with their suppliers, with their customers, and with non-customers, with users. And we will talk about that. This has become extremely important. And I think it became clear yesterday, nicely clear, that especially startups, tech startups nowadays, are clearly following the open innovation approach. We talked about platforms that if you start your own business, you don't have to have your own platform. Team up with a platform provider. This is also part of open innovation. So that you don't try to focus on everything, do everything within your own company, but try to find and get the best partners to get a business done or to realize an idea, a business model. This is the open innovation approach. So overcome the not invented here syndrome, team up, find the right partners, be open. I'm going to refer to the critical success factors later on. So, open innovation, it's a broad area. And there are dozens of methods who can be applied by companies to open up, to get new ideas, to test new ideas. Analogies, the job to be done method. I don't know if you've heard about it. I wanted to talk about it. It's an interesting method, but we don't have enough time. Maybe we can talk about it during the break later on. So I'm going to focus on lead user and ethnography. Two methods in open innovation, which we have applied in projects in collaboration with companies to help companies to increase their innovative ability, to get new ideas, to test, evaluate ideas. Who has heard about the lead user method? And now I'm addressing the practitioners. The lead user concept. Nobody? But I guess the colleagues here, they've heard about it, of course. Can you guess what a lead user is from the name? It's an old concept. Eric van Hippel developed it, I think it was in 1986. Okay, that's interesting, but later on you can tell me if you like it or not. So what is a lead user? A lead user, here are the characteristics. This is a consumer, it's a user who has got a problem in private, in daily life or in his job, and he can't solve the problem. Why? Because there's no product, no service around on the market which helps him to overcome his problem, to solve his problem. And most of us, if we face such a problem, we could just give up, okay? Then we are disappointed, but that's it. But a lead user, because he's disappointed and he's keen to solve his problem, he doesn't give up. So 99.95% of all consumers, users, they give up, but not a lead user. So they develop their own idea to solve their problem. What I stated here, missing product service solutions hinder them in their activities. Therefore, they would benefit extremely from an innovative solution, and thus they start innovating on their own to find a solution. Companies do not offer, or at least not yet. Those are lead users. Lead users are no early adopters, what you see here in this graph. Early adopters come to the market. They buy a product after its introduction to the market, but the lead user is placed before that because he invented the solution for it. And this is something, this method, what I said defined by Eric van Hippel a long time back, can be used by companies to get new ideas, right? Very often disruptive ideas, and therefore companies can use it. We have been specialized on this method because my colleague and the head of the institute, Cornelis Herstadt, he, together with Eric van Hippel, he developed this method a long time back. And this is why we have certain expertise in this, and this is why companies address us and ask us to help them to develop new ideas for product services with the help of this method. By the way, this is something what we do, and it's also related to the topic here. Maybe you ask how such collaborations, how they started. So we talked about it yesterday, what we do at our institute. So we try to showcase our expertise, the different TIM research areas which I showed in the beginning. So once or twice a year, we organize workshops or forums like this, similar setting like this, where we showcase the expertise on particular areas, like the lead user method. We invite companies who have applied this method so that there are best practices. And this is a way how we attract and how we promote our own know-how. This is how companies get to know us, right? So, some examples, frugal innovations. Maybe you're surprised, but the mountain bike, it was not invented by one of the large companies. No, some crazy guys in the Canadian mountains who loved to ride a bike downhill, off-road. No, they felt it hurts a bit if you do this, if you don't have a mountain bike. There were no mountain bikes. So they got the idea, hey, what about motocross bicycles? They have these bumpers, and they integrated them in the first mountain bikes. Other folks who had the same hobby shared this opinion, and this is how mountain bikes became successful. Many surfboards are here. What's the name again? Skateboards, right. Gatorade were not invented by companies. Those were lead users, right? Or Firefox, Wikipedia, and so forth. All invented by lead users. Here we have two examples, industrial goods. I'm a bit proud because our institute was involved in the development of both products. This is a rather old invention or innovation. It's a pipe suspension system by the multinational company Hilti. And this was done in a collaboration between a university and this company. Because those days, more than 20 years back, what I said, Cornelius Herstadt and Eric von Hippel, they developed this concept, and Hilti got to know about it. So, and they supported my colleague in his PhD to develop this concept further, and they became a case study for them, and they looked for lead users, and as a consequence, Hilti got the patent on this, and it was a multi-billion business so far for them, right? But we did not participate in the revenues, unfortunately. This was my first lead user project, and what you see here, an operating table, it's also a large, big company, and they were based on a problem detection study we did with orthopedic surgeons, that they had some problems with existing operating tables they couldn't solve. And so we suggested to apply the lead user method. And we applied the approach. It took nearly half a year. So we found lead users in the United States as well as in Europe. We organized a workshop. And after a 3 days workshop, we had a kind of a prototype of this new orthopedic operating table. Based on ideas orthopedic surgeons had developed before, right? The tricky thing was, and the time-consuming thing was, to find those lead users. But I'm coming back to this. It's not that difficult. It's not rocket science, right? Because there's a systematic approach behind. An approach how you can integrate the lead user method into your new product development process, right? And what I said, it's not rocket science, but it might be helpful, at least in the beginning, if you have an expert who's supporting you in this. This might be a university, and who helps to run through the project smoothly, efficiently, and effectively. Who's familiar with Playmobil? Is Playmobil popular here in Australia? Okay, my kids were too old when we came here. So, why I'm saying this? These little Playmobil, Adam and Eve and Jesus, they were developed or designed, developed and produced by a lead user, not by the company Playmobil. It's a priest, and he was looking for such little, how do you call it, figures? Because he wanted to teach pupils in his church, different scenes from the Bible. Because he couldn't find them, he created, what I said, his own little figures. And he put it online. You can't believe how many online communities are available dealing with Playmobil. Many adults play with it and are interested in it. So this priest put it online. The consequence was that Playmobil sued him, saying, hey, you're breaking our IPRs, intellectual property rights. How can you do doing this? So they sued them. The consequence of this was a shitstorm on the web. Because all the people in the communities said, hey, why are you doing this? This guy is creative, innovative. And it took them a while, Playmobil, but then they changed their mind and said, okay, why not? Why not taking advantage of it? And this was the beginning of Playmobil to start their idea contest, idea competition. And now they are actively looking for lead users who have such brilliant ideas. After they found such ideas, those ideas are evaluated by the community, by other lead users, and the best ideas are realized by Playmobil. So, lead users. An important source of innovation for companies. And we help companies to become more innovative by introducing such concepts to them. And what we do, we don't see ourselves as consultants. We are researchers and teachers. So if we have to, then we are also consultants. But primarily what we do is that we join forces with the companies, that we create a team and that we teach them, and that we do learning on the job, right? Training on the job, so that the companies are enabled to run such or organize such a project, a lead user project on their own. We did another lead user project with a large energy provider in Germany, and I'm mentioning this because rather coincidentally, we got a new idea for further research for an extension of the lead user method, and we call it the embedded lead users. What are embedded lead users? In every company, you can find lead users. Very often companies are not aware of it, because why? Those embedded lead users are usually not working, sometimes they are working in marketing or in R&D where new ideas are generated, but very often they are not working there, right? And this is here what we have here. So this is the market where we have some lead users, then you have all your employers, and then in between you also have your embedded lead users. Right? So we did this, it was a project with this energy provider, and the task was to find private people who produce their own renewable energy, who found a solution for the storage of energy, renewable energy, and to manage the energy efficiently. And believe it or not, we found so many lead users in this, people who developed their own ideas how to deal with these three issues. And during a lunch break in the canteen, we met a guy and he asked what we're doing, and we said, okay, yeah, this is the idea, this is the project. And then he said, oh, I got an idea on my own and I developed it a couple of years back and I'm using it at my home. And this is how we got the idea to start research on embedded lead users, right? And so it became a win-win situation, not only for the company, not only for the lead users, who for the first time, were really appreciated by their company that they're so innovative, but also for ourselves because we started a new field of research. We extended the lead user method into the embedded lead user method, which gave us the opportunity for very good publications, which, as you know, is important for us. So this embedded lead user methodology is used by many, many companies. Here are just some of them. In consumer goods as well as here in IT, Apple and so forth. They take advantage of it. But it's not well known. Like here, when you ask people in such settings, very often there are only a few people who have heard about the lead user concept. But it's a very, very effective way for companies to find new ideas, right? And to strengthen their innovative ability. So embedded lead users, just at the end, they strengthen the innovative ability because they strengthen the innovative work behavior, the boundary spanning behavior in a company, and the customer orientation behavior. We have done studies in different industries where we found lead users, and as a main result, you can say that embedded lead users influence positively and more than other employees the new product development of firms. So it has become, or it's proven to be a very, very effective method. Okay, questions afterwards. So, second method, netnography. Who has heard about netnography? 5 minutes. Thank you. High five. Oh. Thank you. Netnography. Who has heard about netnography? That's what I thought. It's a rather new way of doing market research. We were approached by a large multinational company who, in the white home appliance industry from Germany, and they said, hey, our aim is we want to develop a frugal refrigerator for the Indian mass market. They've been in India for a long time, but only in the premium segment. But now they want to enter the mass market. And they did some market research because they have their own market research unit located in Singapore. And they did a normal market research analysis, sent out 2,500 questionnaires, got the answers, analyzed the answers, but they had a gut feeling, this is not the real answer. So we are not convinced that we really know the real needs and preference of the customers. So this is why they approached us with the frugal innovation approach I will not talk about here. So what we suggested is, hey, let's go to India. Let's travel India for 3 or 4 weeks with different teams. Let's go to the countryside, so urban areas, rural areas, and talk to the people, live with the people for a couple of days. So engineers, so developing engineers as well as marketers, to understand the real needs and preferences of the people. I said, okay, no, we don't have the money, we don't have the time. So then we said, okay, let's do an ethnography. So it's a new qualitative research methodology that adapts ethnographic research techniques to the study of cultures and communities emerging through computer-mediated communications. Brave New World Industry 4.0, digitalization, as part of market research or innovation management to get new ideas. So what we did, the question was, okay, how to figure out the real needs and preference of people. So an ethnographic analysis of Indian online communities and customer profiles, focus of research on customer comments about refrigeration in Indian private households, identification of customer needs, requirements, experiences, complaints, just everything what you can find on the web about refrigerating and cooling in Indian private households. No? So we formed a joint project team, 3 people from the company, 3 people from our institute, plus a bunch of students, many Indian students, because we integrated a research seminar into this. So it's another form of potential collaboration, right? No worries, I don't want to go too much into detail, but we figured out some very, very interesting results. So we had different guiding questions, what are the use patterns, relevant aspects concerning cooling of food, reasons for non-usage, and so forth and so forth. I don't want to go too much into detail. Who's interested in this? Can we provide the slides to the audience? If you're interested, it would be a pleasure to share them with you. There's also a systematic approach behind it, like with the lead user concept. I don't want to go into detail. You can't believe how many forums, blogs, websites, online communities are available in India just dealing with the topic of refrigerating cooling. My favorite one is this here, Mamta's Kitchen, where you have thousands of women from India discussing what they want to put in the fridge, how they can put it in the fridge, why the fridge is not suitable for it, and so forth and so forth. It's unbelievable. And again, it reminded me to what Craig said yesterday. So far, we have only used 5% of all the data available, for our purposes. And it was incredible. But thanks to latest software, data mining software, like Max Codata and others, it has become very, very easy to analyze all these posts, because you don't want to analyze up to 480,000 posts we found. So, but thanks to software, it's not a problem to figure out the preferred features, functionalities. Just briefly, what you see here, use patterns of refrigeration, here the numbers are missing, I'm sorry, this must be 780, who said, okay, so what people put in the fridge. And what we revealed with an ethnography, with this new form of market research, was, for instance, that people in India, we have a lot of vegetarians. So they want to have separate compartments for meat and vegetables, for instance, right? Or here, medicine. This was an issue the other market research study did not deal with, because they didn't have the question, they have never thought about it. But thanks to the internet, we figured out that, it's a sad topic, but many people, and an increasing, growing number of people are suffering from diabetes in India. So they need the drugs. And if you have 40 degrees, 45 degrees outside, you have to put them in the fridge. Right? So this is new. Usually here in the Western world, we don't put drugs in the fridge. But this is something what people desire, what they demand. A compartment just for your medicine, right? Something like this. And people said, okay, hey, yeah, curry and gravies, this is popular, but how can we need special trays, modular trays, where we can put such boxes here for our gravies and curries. None of the companies, refrigerating OEMs, is offering something like this, right? Or the design. Indians love specific design, colorful refrigerators. They love Hello Kitty doors. They love blossoms. The more colorful, the better, right? And when we talked to them and said, okay, this is what we revealed, they said, are you stupid? A refrigerator has to be silver or gray. I said, yes, but just look, and if you analyze Amazon or other websites, your competitors are already doing it, because this is what the customers desire. So another aspect was Indians want to have a mobile fridge. Why a mobile fridge? I'm done in 2 minutes. Why a mobile fridge? Do you have an idea? The normal market research did not reveal that. We are talking about the mass market. We are talking about people who do not have a high disposable income. So they are going for cheaper fridge, right? But those people are also the people who only have limited space at home. Many people, especially in the countryside, for them it's the first fridge. So it's a kind of a status symbol. This is why they put it either because of space constraints or because of status. They put it in the living room, right? So in the living room very often is also the bedroom. And this is why they have to move the fridge at night to some other places. And this is not only a single case, this was stated by thousands of people. And this is a way, do you know a company who is offering a mobile fridge? I haven't seen one. The normal fridge I'm talking about. Right? I'm just saying, this was a way. We did not blame the colleagues, of course not. With the other market research, they did a brilliant job, but they came up with the wrong questions, right? And thanks to this new method, open innovation method, to reveal real needs and preference of customers, we helped the company to develop such a new fridge, right? Just another concept. These are 2 concepts I selected. Hopefully, they were not only a bit entertaining, but also give you some insights how innovation management selected models, concepts, method can help companies to be more innovative, and how universities again can help to strengthen the innovative abilities of companies by teaming up and training on the job. So it's our job to introduce such new methods, concepts to companies, especially small, medium-sized companies who do not have an innovation management and who are not well trained in such methods. So this is where we see an advantage in such collaborations. In the end, just some implications. For companies who want to use such methods, appreciate customer user ideas and feedback, so appreciate the open innovation approach. Create acceptance for user-centered innovation methods like the ones I mentioned. This is very often a problem that the people within the companies do not accept it, right? Because, hey, we are just doing what we have done over the last 30 years. Go away with such new crazy methods, right? So you have to fight the not invented here syndrome. Again, pro of open innovation. Find employees who are open-minded and curious to learn and apply new methods. This is very often, it has been a critical success factor in collaborations with companies. That we had to deal with employees who had to do it, who were not really interested in it, right? And who blocked it, right? So if you want to go for such a method, if you want to apply it, look for people within your own company who are open-minded and curious to learn and apply it. and grant project teams sufficient resources, time and money. It shouldn't be the 21st project for a person, you know, then he's not willing to do it. So give them enough time and money. So what does it mean? Final implications, final words regarding collaborations between universities and companies. So critical success factors. So you need acceptance of cooperation within firm. Very often companies or employees, they are not interested or not really keen and eager to collaborate with academics. They're saying they're too theoretical in many other aspects. There has to be a fit between the partners regarding the topics, people involved, and motives. Team building is extremely important. This is what we always do when we start a project with with a company. So in the beginning, there are team building events, right? Just to create an atmosphere so that everybody is happy and gets to know the other one. So professional project management regarding task definition, budget, timeline, etc. Because sometimes there are different ways of thinking, expectation between the two parties. And then don't forget the early agreement regarding exploitation of results, IPRs and so forth, and confidentiality. So, very, very important, especially if you do a project like a lead user project, because also the lead user, you know, he has developed the idea, and you have to find a way how to deal with the IPRs. Okay, that's all from my side. Hopefully you got some valuable insights and information, and thank you very much.